Hey, what's up, guys? Matt Manduke here, and tonight's topic is why I chose my van. And I don't just necessarily mean my van, the conversion, all that stuff. That was I didn't really want a conversion van, but now having one, I'm happy about it because of the way things are working out. But why I chose a Chevy Express and not, a VW bus or a Mercedes Sprinter or a Dodge Sprinter. They're the same thing, even though they're separate companies now. Um, Obviously, if you've watched my Dodge equals shit, then um, you know why I didn't pick a Mercedes or a Dodge Sprinter. They actually don't have any more space for me to stand up than the Chevy conversion van that I have, which they're taller, but they don't have any more wheel clearance. And ultimately, so there's no benefit out of that. They actually get a lot less gas mileage than this does. They A good reason why I picked the Chevy Express is because it gets better fuel economy than other vans. So I'm doing something right then. Now, the only one that I would say is about equal to the fuel economy that the Chevy Express gets is the Ford E150s. But the reason I didn't go for a Ford E150 is because they had that 5.4 liter in them. Most of them do. If I could have found one with a 4.6 Windsor, I would have went for that. But they're rare, and almost as rare as the 4.8 liter V8 in the Chevy Express. Most of them had the 5.3, 2005 and newer. Chevy Expresses do. 2004 and older, they have the 5.7 Vortec, which is actually with the motor that's in the van I'm sitting in now. That's the fun stuff, right? So, but the problem with the 5.4 that's in the E150s and some of the E250s, almost all the F150s and some of the F250s, the problem with it is it has a two-piece spark plug, and they're notorious for breaking the tip off of the spark plug, and they fall down into the head. That's the fun stuff, right? Now, on a pickup truck, I don't think I would mind that so much. I would probably go for the Ford F-150 if I was buying a pickup truck. I had one. You guys can see it in my storage video here. But that was an 89 F-150. Yeah, I really got that because it was $500 and it ran. I consequently junked it for $300 a year later after it made me thousands of dollars. Yeah, so I would do that on an F-150. If I was into buying a new truck, I'd probably get an F-150 because the technology in the Fords is higher than the technology in the Chevys. Even though I do like the DOD, and Ford doesn't do displacement on demand where it shuts down into a four-cylinder. They do a variable valve timing, but it isn't as effective for gas mileage. So, there's that. But I would get an F-150 because the internal technology, and I like the way the dashboard looks better. But the fact is, I wouldn't want to deal with that spark plug issue in a van. Getting the spark plugs in any van is a pain in the ass. But getting to the spark plug to find out that the tip broke off and it fell down into the head, and then getting the tip out of the head. And they make a special tool to do that, but that tool is not really fun to do on anything. Doing it on a van would probably require removing the motor. And in vans, the way to remove the motor is to drop it from underneath of the vehicle, which is an even bigger problem. For me, I don't own a lift, nor the engine plucker to be able to take the motor that way, so that would be a problem for me, and because I'd have to pay somebody else to do it, and that'd just be a huge problem. So I went with the Chevy Express for that reason. So I'm doing something right then. Now, I wanted a cargo van, because I read this ebook that I found online called Vanabode, which is actually why I call my van a vanabode because it's an abode and it's a van, but that's actually what they called it in the ebook. And they explained how, well, I guess the guy had to have some kind of money, but his scam to make money on the road wasn't viable. It really seemed like a scam, so I wasn't going to go for it. But and it still sounded like more work than it was really worth. But I'm going to take this hat off because it's making my head look weird because I have to like hold the camera differently. Yeah, so I got a nice yeah. So, I was looking for the cargo van because that looks like exactly what it is. It looks like a work van. And so it blends in different places because it looks like a work van. At the same time, it not having any windows and looking like what it is makes it a little bit more creepy. Do you actually expect me to be a guy handing out free candy to little kids while living in a van? And for a single guy, maybe if I had a chick, but then even that, I could see myself getting harassed. However, the conversion van, now that I have it, it already stands out. Because, I put the kayak on top, and I was going to put the kayak on top of a cargo van, so it would have looked weird anyway. So now I got the kayak on top, but of course everybody's interested in that. But because people are looking at me anyway, I'm like, well, why don't I just make the van stand out? I got the conversion van because the price was right. The big windows, well, I like them. It's just, they're not necessarily ideal for a lot of things, but in colder weather, having the window so the light comes in is awesome because it brings in heat and it all gets stuck in the ceiling area, which is nice because my bed is up here now. Actually, where the bed is now makes it kind of look like I'm in a boat more than it does a van, which is also kind of cool for me. The conversion van is good for a few things. One, I'm still getting 23 miles to the gallon. Now, it's a 2000 Express, so it has the 5.7 in it, and the 5.7 makes that little bit more power than the 5.3 does. It's, in between the 6.0s and the 2500s that actually the Vanabode ebook told me to get a 2500 because of the 6.0, so you had more power in the mountains and all that shit. I've been in the mountains with this. You guys can watch the videos of Locust Lake and whatnot. I've been in the mountains with it, and it handled fine. In fact, it was wonderful for what it is. The 5.7 makes plenty of power, and it's getting 23 miles to the gallon. Granted, that's the top quarter of a tank, but the in between 3/4 and half still gets 14. Below half, it's a joke. It's a joke, but it's not even funny. And I don't like taking it below half, but if I'm on the highway, I can get another 150, 200 miles out of the bottom half a tank. I still haven't done all of my gas mileage stuff, but tires are kind of a problem because I want to get new ones, and I want to change the size of my wheel, mostly because in New Jersey, everything is accessible, and when I go into the tire shop and they tell me they have to order the tire that I need, that is standard on my van, then that's a problem. And them being like $140 a piece for new ones, that's also a problem. I don't mind getting nice used ones. Nice used ones are like $35 a piece, but even still, if they don't have them, so it doesn't really matter. So I want to go to a 15-inch wheel because they're more accessible and much more used. And even if I ordered new ones, they're only like $100, so that's $40 a tire less. Also, because if I'm, traveling somewhere, 15-inch wheels are going to be much more likely to be in stock in, like, Montana than 17s, because 17s are just a weird size, especially for a van. And this thing, it has as much clearance, if not more, as a 4x4 truck. I actually had to call up General Motors the other day. I didn't have to, but I wanted to ask questions about their built-in Wi-Fi, and they were kind of assholes about that. But the dealership didn't know if it was built into OnStar, and I'm asking direct questions. is the Wi-Fi built on the OnStar, and the dealership didn't know, and it's like, that's a question I would want to know if I was buying a 2015 or 16. They couldn't tell me. So I called up General Motors tech support, and this was, I think it was the same day I posted the the constant upload security system video, and I'm actually doing that now with dash cams, motion sensing dash cams. They sync to my phone. So yeah, I call up GM, and I was on hold for a while, but when I finally talked to somebody, they're like, hey, give me the VIN number, and I give them the VIN number, and they're like, oh, that can't be right. And I'm like, well, I'm reading it off the title, and then they're like, well, give me the one that's. I was like, well, I'm in the vehicle. Do you want me to give you the one that's on the dashboard? And they're like, you mean the one that's underneath the windshield? I'm like, yes, that's exactly what I mean. And I mean, I can't, the girl wasn't like an engineer or anything. That was obvious, but she did tell me that the Wi-Fi is built into the new, built into the OnStar on the new vehicles. And maybe I can get this fancy pillow behind my head. This is a pillow my mom made for me. It was out of a shirt. I don't know if you can see the buttons on it. But it was out of a shirt that I actually used to wear when I was a teenager. Thanks, Mom. Yeah, so I called for the switch for the rear AC because the rear AC doesn't work. And I hot wired the blower, and that works. But the switch doesn't work. So I was trying to get that. And so like I gave him the VIN number that was, the exact same one as what was on the title, but the one that was actually on the vehicle. And she goes, well, I thought you said it was a van. It's coming up as a 2500 Silverado. And I'm like, yeah, well, part of my question was, does GM build all this stuff with the handicap lift and all that, or do they send it to an aftermarket company? And she verified then that they do send it to an aftermarket company, and they no longer work with that aftermarket company, and they would have to get back to me on what the name of that aftermarket company was. So they're like, GM was very unhelpful. Kudos to their designers, but everybody else can really suck it.
I need my wiener to be erect for this.
After being on the phone with them, they more or less told me that I can't do the switch. So I'm just going to do a toggle switch. It'll be on or off. I'm going to like put it probably like here or somewhere like that where I can get to it easily and turn it on if I'm in the back. And I'll have it so it's only hot. I'll have it so it's only hot when the vehicle's on. That way, if I leave it on, it'll just automatically turn on when the vehicle's running. And since it's hooked up to based on what the front heat is doing, that's awesome. So, if the front heat's not on, then the rear heat's not on. If the front air conditioner's not on, then the rear air conditioner's not on. They all run on the same stuff. But it's interesting that I have a second heater core in the back, which is probably just asking for a ton of problems, right? That's the fun stuff, right? But I can just bypass it just as easily if I have any problems with it. So, no big deal. Another reason why I went for this van is because of my bed setup. And I'm going to do a video on the bed setup, but the fact is I have a full-size bed in here. Now, I don't need a full-size bed for me, but I don't expect to always be alone in here, and I haven't always been alone in here. The reason why I had to replace the convertible bed was because I wasn't always alone in here. And after like 3 days with Victoria, I miss you, girl, but we're not compatible. I've been with over 400 women. That's true. After like 3 days with Victoria, the cushion on the leather bench was worn out. So that's actually outside where I'm at right now. And I'm thinking about taking the actuators off because it was a power bench. And I could like hook them up in here, but I don't know what the hell I would even do with it. So with the conversion van, I can have the bed higher. Now, if I didn't have the conversion top, I'd be like, the roof would be here. So with the conversion top, I have actual space. It's not a ton of space. Like, I have my feet on the ceiling now, which is interesting to me. But it's enough space, and it's a full-size mattress. Now, the reason why I'm doing it this way is because my floor space now is clear. And everything that is in the van is now underneath the bed, which is phenomenal. I might actually put one of the chairs, the captain's chairs, back in so I have room for a passenger and they don't have to sit on my bed. Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, so other reasons, like, I love the conversion van because it's already pre-wired for a lot of things. Like, I removed the hydraulic lift when I built the bed, and I was thinking about trying to use it to, like, make the bed stick out like a tongue out of the back end. But I think I'm just gonna, like, reorganize things and get my canopy and then be able to, like, move the mattress outside and have a second frame to be outside. I haven't really designed that yet, but I like the conversion van because the way it stands out, I don't mind modifying it. And I actually want it to stand out because I'm advertising over there. This YouTube channel on the side of the van, and I'm actually going to get a wrap for it, so it's advertising more. So I want it to stand out. So I'm going to do all kinds of crazy lights on the outside. I'll show you guys what I do, not how I do, but I'll show you guys what I do. The reason why I'm not going to show you how I do it is because I don't want everybody else running around doing the same thing I'm doing, because I'm doing some pretty fresh stuff. But I'm going to do all kinds of lights on the outside. I'm going to do all kinds of lights on the inside because I don't want it to look creepy in here. A guy came into the gas station the other day, and he was cool to me because he obviously lived in the van, but he wasn't overly cool because, like, his van was, one, it was a Dodge Shorty van. I like the way the short vans look. My neighbor here, because I'm in the lake now, my neighbor across the street has a short Chevy van from, like, the 80s, and it looks cool as hell. But ultimately, it's probably got the same size motor as me, makes 100 less horsepower than me, and he doesn't have as much space. He couldn't have a full-size bed and have space in between. So I have space to be able to cook in here. I have space to be able to I could have an air mattress on the floor if I had to have, company over. So I'm doing something right then. I have space in here that the shorties don't have. But what was weird about his van was, like, he showed us inside, and yeah, he had a nice custom setup, but it looked creepy as hell inside of his van, and that's something I don't want to have. The big windows is a good way to not look creepy.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys later.